Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to you about something that we often underestimate. It's not technology. It's not money. It's not physical strength. It's something deeper, something that resides inside every single one of us. One of the most powerful forces on earth is the power of belief. The belief in yourself, in your vision, and in your purpose. History has shown us that belief has moved nations, sparked revolutions, and rewritten what we thought was possible. The Wright brothers believed humans could fly, and they did. Rosa Parks believed she deserved dignity, and she changed the course of civil rights. Steve Jobs believed in simplicity, and he reshaped our world. Belief is what turns ordinary people into legends. But here's the catch: belief doesn't start outside you. It starts when you silence the noise that tells you you're not enough. When you wake up and take one small step toward your goal, even when you're tired, scared, or uncertain. When you show up not just with talent, but with intention. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be committed. You just have to believe in something so deeply that failure becomes a stepping stone, not a dead end. You are one of the most powerful beings on this planet when you believe in yourself. So don't let doubt dim your light. Don't let fear write your future. Rise up, own your story, and remember, one of the most powerful things in the world is a human being who refuses to quit. Thank you. Belief is not just an abstract idea or a feel-good emotion. It is the engine behind human progress, resilience, and transformation. When someone truly believes in something, whether it's a dream, a purpose, or a cause, that belief becomes the spark that lights every action that follows. It becomes a driving force that pushes people to rise early, to work late, to endure setbacks, and to keep going long after others have quit. Belief is what allows a person to stand firm when everything around them is shaking. It gives vision to the blind moments of uncertainty, and strength to the weak in times of doubt. In the face of adversity, belief whispers, "Keep going." In the midst of failure, belief says, "This isn't the end." It turns impossibilities into challenges and challenges into victories. It fuels innovation, births revolutions, and breaks through limitations that logic alone cannot overcome. Without belief, talent remains dormant, potential stays hidden, and greatness never gets a chance to be seen. It's belief that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, not resources, not luck, not even timing. Throughout history, the most significant breakthroughs have not come from those who were the most qualified or the most resourced, but from those who simply believed it could be done and refused to accept anything less. Belief does not guarantee success instantly, but it creates the momentum necessary to keep trying, to keep improving, and to keep striving until success is no longer a question of if, but only when. It's not the size of your resources, your background, or your circumstances that determines your future. It's the size of your belief. Belief builds unshakable focus. It anchors you when nothing else seems certain. It pushes you to speak up, to stand up, to take the risk, to go against the odds. People can take your money, your time, your position, but they can't take away your belief unless you hand it to them. That's why belief is not just powerful. It is one of the most powerful forces in the world. When we look back at the greatest names in history, it's easy to focus on what they accomplished, the inventions, the movements, the ideas that reshaped the world, but behind every iconic achievement lies one common element: belief. Not luck, not privilege, not even intelligence alone. It was the unwavering belief that something better was possible and that they were capable of creating it. The Wright brothers weren't trained engineers or elite scholars. They were bicycle mechanics. But they believed in the radical idea that humans could fly, and that belief drove them to build, fail, and try again until they created the first successful airplane. Martin Luther King Jr. stood against deeply rooted hate and injustice, armed with nothing more than his voice, his courage, and his belief that all people deserve equal rights and dignity. It was that belief that filled streets with marches, gave strength to the oppressed, and echoed through generations. Malala Yousafzai, even after being shot for speaking out, continued her fight for girls' education, not because she was fearless, but because her belief in education was stronger than her fear. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company and told he was too difficult to work with, but he believed in the beauty of design, the power of simplicity, and the ability of technology to transform human life. He returned, rebuilt Apple, and revolutionized the way we communicate, create, and live. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, yet never abandoned his belief that South Africa could one day be free from apartheid. And when he emerged, he didn't seek revenge. He led with belief in reconciliation, unity, and progress. What connects all these people isn't their fame or status. It's their ability to hold on to belief, especially when the world told them it was impossible. They weren't immune to doubt, failure, or pain, but their belief gave them the strength to rise above it. Belief didn't make their path easier, it made it possible. Their legacies remind us that while skills and resources matter, it is belief that turns vision into action, and action into history. They weren't superhuman, they were simply humans who refused to stop believing. So many people spend their lives waiting for someone else to tell them they're good enough. They wait for approval from family, praise from friends, a title from a boss, or recognition from the world, and until they get it, they doubt themselves. But the truth is, belief doesn't begin when someone claps for you, it begins when you decide to clap for yourself. It begins the moment you stop asking for permission to be great. Because if your confidence depends on external validation, it will always be fragile. People can change their opinions. Support can disappear. Applause fades. But when belief is built from the inside, it becomes unshakable. It becomes a force that carries you even when no one sees your effort, when no one acknowledges your growth, and when no one understands your vision. It's easy to feel confident when everything is going right and everyone's cheering for you. But real belief, the kind that transforms lives, is forged in silence. It's built in the moments when no one is watching, when you're tired, discouraged, and tempted to quit. That's where self-belief grows strongest, not in the spotlight but in the shadows. When you choose to trust your path, even if it's not popular. When you trust your talent, even if it's still developing. When you trust your dream, even if no one else can see it yet. The world may eventually recognize you, celebrate you, follow you, but that comes after you've already chosen to believe in yourself. Waiting for others to validate you is like waiting for the world to give you permission to live fully, and that permission may never come. You must become your own encourager, your own motivator, your own greatest supporter. Self-belief isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's knowing who you are, what you're here to do, and not needing everyone to agree before you start. The foundation of every great journey begins with one internal voice saying, I can. And once that voice becomes louder than your doubt, you unlock the power that no one else can give you or take away. Belief on its own is powerful, but belief without action is like having a map and never taking a step. The destination remains just an idea, not an experience. It's not enough to believe that your dreams are possible, you must pair that belief with consistent, focused effort. Because belief gives you the vision, but action is what builds the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Even the boldest vision remains in the realm of fantasy unless it's backed by movement. Taking action, no matter how small, creates momentum, and momentum is what fuels progress. You don't need to have everything figured out before you begin. You just need to take that first brave step, and then another, until your belief becomes something you can touch, live, and breathe. Many people believe in something deeply, but they wait for the perfect time, the perfect circumstances, or the perfect version of themselves. But perfection never arrives. The truth is, progress doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. And when you combine belief with action, you create a force that is difficult to stop. You stop being a dreamer and become a doer. You stop hoping and start building. Even when the road is hard, even when there are obstacles, action fueled by belief will keep you moving forward. And every step you take, no matter how small, becomes proof that your belief is real. Every setback you face becomes a lesson, not a defeat. Every challenge becomes part of your growth. This is how visions are transformed into realities, not through wishing but through working. Not through waiting but through walking. Action gives life to belief. It gives shape to your purpose and clarity to your path. And the more you act, the more your belief deepens, creating a cycle of unstoppable forward motion. Every great success story is built on this combination: belief that it can be done, and action that refuses to stop until it is. Every person who has ever done something meaningful has felt fear. Every person who has ever tried to break a limit, start something new, or step into the unknown has been visited by doubt. Fear and doubt are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you're alive, that you care, and that you're standing at the edge of growth. They show up when you're about to do something that stretches you, something that matters. But while fear is natural, it is not meant to be your guide. While doubt may knock on your door, it should not be allowed to drive the car. The problem is not fear itself. The problem is letting fear make your decisions. Fear whispers, "What if you fail?" But belief replies, "What if you fly?" Doubt says, "You're not ready," but courage responds, "You'll learn as you go." You can feel fear and still move forward. You can hear doubt and still take action. The key is to recognize fear as part of the process, not as the end of it. Fear may slow you down, but it doesn't have to stop you. Doubt may cloud your mind, but it doesn't have to control your choices. The most powerful people in the world aren't fearless, they're just trained to move through fear. They don't wait for fear to disappear before they act. They act in spite of fear, and in doing so they weaken its grip. You don't have to silence every doubt before you begin. You don't have to eliminate every fear before you take a step. You just have to stop giving those voices the final say. Because when fear leads, it shrinks your world. When doubt leads, it dims your light. But when belief leads, even fear becomes fuel. It's not about pretending fear isn't real. It's about choosing not to obey it. You can carry fear in your pocket, but don't let it touch the steering wheel. You can acknowledge doubt, but don't let it dictate your destiny. The real courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward with belief even when fear is present. Perfection is one of the greatest illusions we chase, and one of the most powerful traps that keep us stuck. It convinces us that unless we get everything exactly right, we shouldn't even start. That if we don't have the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect skills, or the perfect mindset, we're not worthy of taking action. But the truth is, perfection has never built anything great. Persistence has. The most successful, fulfilled, and impactful people are not perfect. They are consistent. They fall down, they make mistakes, they hear criticism, they question themselves, but they keep going. What separates them is not flawless execution, but relentless pursuit. They show up when it's hard. They show up when it's boring. They show up when no one else believes in them. And over time, that consistency compounds into excellence. Perfection tells you to wait. Persistence tells you to move. Perfection is fragile. It breaks under pressure. Persistence is resilient. It adapts, learns, and grows stronger with every challenge. When you chase perfection, you're always falling short, always feeling behind, always afraid of being judged. But when you embrace persistence, you understand that every step, even the messy ones, are part of your progress. You start seeing failure not as an end, but as feedback. You stop measuring your worth by how flawless your journey looks and start honoring the fact that you haven't given up. You realize that greatness is not about getting everything right the first time, it's about refusing to stop until you get it right over time. You might not be the fastest. You might not be the most talented. But if you're the one who refuses to quit, you will outlast and outgrow everyone who waits for perfection. Persistence makes you unshakable. It doesn't demand perfection from you, it demands courage, effort, and a decision to keep showing up. Because in the long run, it's not the perfect that win, it's the persistent. There's something extraordinary that happens the moment a person genuinely begins to believe in themselves. It's not arrogance. It's not ego. It's a deep inner conviction, a quiet, unshakable knowing that no matter what happens, they have what it takes to rise, to rebuild, and to win. Self-belief shifts the way you think, act, and carry yourself. It changes the way you respond to rejection, setbacks, and pressure. Because when you truly believe in yourself, failure no longer defines you. It refines you. Criticism doesn't break you, it sharpens you. Doubt from others doesn't distract you, it fuels you. A person who believes in themselves stops waiting for opportunities and starts creating them. They don't walk into rooms seeking permission, they walk in with purpose. They don't let fear decide what's possible, they let faith speak louder than fear. When belief is internal, it becomes a compass. You're no longer tossed around by other people's opinions, by temporary results, or by moments of uncertainty. You know who you are, and even more importantly, you know who you are becoming. It makes you courageous. It makes you powerful. You begin to trust your own voice more than the noise around you. You begin to take risks others are too afraid to take. You begin to pursue goals that once seemed impossible. Not because they're easy, but because you know you're capable of growing into the person who can achieve them. People who believe in themselves don't need the path to be easy, they just need it to be real. They'll walk it, they'll climb it, they'll crawl if they have to. Because deep down, they've already decided, no matter what happens, I will not stop. And that decision, that belief, is what makes them unstoppable. So as you move forward in life, through uncertainty, through resistance, through the noise of other people's opinions, remember this truth. The most powerful shift happens the moment you stop waiting and start believing. Because once you believe in who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going, nothing can hold you back. Not failure, not fear, not the opinions of others. Your belief becomes your foundation, your fire, your fuel. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to believe enough to take the first step. The rest will unfold as you go. You are not powerless. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are one of the most powerful, the moment you choose to believe it. Thank you.